Hey guys, welcome to our very bookish channel. If you are new here, my name is Amanda and I run this channel with my friend Jen, and we just like to talk about bookish things. If you are also a reader, which I assume you are if you stumbled onto this channel, then please subscribe and feel free to make comments if you have any recommendations for books you'd like to see us read, or books you loved or didn't love, book recommendations. Just please let us know. Or if you have any suggestions for videos or any kind of content you want to see, just let us know in the comments below. In today's video, we are going to be reading The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. If you watched our mystery spooky reading vlog, then you'll see that I talked about on October 24th when the book released, I went to the store, I bought my copy of the book. I was a little worried that they might run out if I didn't go get it on release day, because a lot of people have been anticipating this book. A lot of people were buying the book. When I went there weren't that many copies left, and the woman behind me was also there just there to buy the book. It is now Saturday after release day, and already there are magazine headlines, people dunking on Justin Timberlake. First, as always, I kind of want to talk about the cover of this book, and it's Britney's book, so of course Britney's on the cover. I love the black and white and then the pink letters, and when you look at the picture, for me, my first instinct was kind of shock, because she is on this book with no shirt on. So at first I'm kind of, there's like this little shock value. I think that's intentional, because I think that draws your eye to the book and draws attention to it and kind of piques some people's curiosity. My first thought is, this is shocking. But the more that I have looked at this cover over the last couple of days, I've had it sitting here on my bookshelf, the more that I've looked at this cover, I just see something a little deeper. Maybe I'm reading into it way too much, who knows? But I feel like there's more of a message here, and I feel like maybe this is portraying more of the vibe of the book, because I feel like when she's standing here with no shirt on, no clothes on, she's kind of making herself vulnerable. So I feel like she feels maybe a little vulnerable. And then protective, she's protecting herself. Of course, like, she's covering her chest, but the pose that she's in kind of feels like she's like protecting herself, kind of shying away, and she's vulnerable and trying to be protective. If you look at the look on her face, you can see there's this fierce kind of fighter look. So, we all know Britney has been through a lot, and she has come out recently winning a big legal battle over her conservatorship. I just feel like this picture was probably chosen for several reasons, and I do feel like Britney might be trying to express her feelings and the vibe of this book through this picture.
Hey guys, I'm about to start reading Britney Spears' The Woman in Me for our vlog. I'm excited to hear from her perspective some of the things that have been in the media. I had said in another vlog, I believe it was for the TBR or Most Anticipated, one of them, that I have followed Britney Spears, and I feel like I've been a fan since early 2000s. I am a pop music fan. I do enjoy her music, especially the Blackout album from 2007. I remember paying a lot of attention when she was in magazines and in tabloids in the early 2000s to mid 2000s. And I feel like she was hunted. That's how much you would notice the paparazzi following and covering Britney Spears. Maybe magazines sold a lot more when she was on the cover, because she was extremely popular. I feel that a lot of that contributed to her breakdown. There was definitely personal life, and I'm sure I'm going to find out soon, personal life issues that were happening that also contributed heavily. But she almost got to this point where she didn't care anymore, and she was just like wandering. I remember one article had her wandering into a gas station barefoot, in a gas station restroom barefoot, and she just seemed to hit a wall where she just didn't care anymore what people thought, and she just seemed depressed. I feel bad from what I do know, and I'm sure I'm going to find out more now, but I feel bad for everything that I have seen about this book that has been in the media, and I just think she's been through a lot. So hopefully it's not too sad. There's a lot that have been said about Justin Timberlake too, so I have a feeling those parts are going to just make me irritated and angry with him. One thing I noticed when I was looking at her book, on the inside cover is this rose, and anyone who has paid attention to her Instagram, and I think her Instagram alone gets a lot of attention because she does some crazy things on there. She shares very honest opinions. She has ranted about her family on there, but she also dances a lot on her Instagram. But why the rose was important is she would say like random things. Like there were fans that were thinking she was speaking in code to try and get help. And she would put, I think people would do the thing where they were like, oh, if you're trying to ask for help, wear red. And then she'd wear red like the next day. And I don't know how much of that is coincidence or how much, I don't even know if she talks about that in here. But she started talking about Project Rose. And when I noticed that the rose was there, I know she most likely is going to refer to it. And I think it ended up being about a lot of speculation as to what Project Rose was. Some people just think she lost her mind and was just spewing nonsense. There were people that were thinking this was an untitled or secret name for an album that she was doing. And I think it ended up being about the lawyer that helped get her out of that conservatorship, because I believe his name was like Rosen something. So hopefully she goes over that in here. And the other thing is that picture on the front. I noticed there were no real pictures in this biography. I think she really wanted it to be about her voice and not necessarily about her image. Because I did see one snippet talk about how the reason why she had even shaved her head was because she was sick of people always expecting her to look a certain way. So I'm going to start it and see what she has to say about her life. Obviously make some videos as I go along. It might be a lot of times because, as I've said, I followed her for a fair amount of time, and it's going to be, I think, just interesting to get an inside perspective on things that we saw outside as a fan, and I'll end up wanting to talk about those things. So here we go.
Hey guys, hello. It is Monday. And the last I spoke to you, I started reading the Britney book on Saturday. I am about halfway through the book, so we have a lot to talk about. There's two big things that I want to discuss that I have read so far. But before we do that, I am at my post office because Jen's birthday is coming up. If you guys watched our wishing game vlog, you'll see that she sent me the cutest birthday gift. She got me a sprayed edge copy of the wishing game. She had this really cute little card in it that looked like a library, like the old school, like where you would check out library books and they had the little cards in the back. Most of you guys probably don't remember that, but I do, because the checkout system in the library, especially when I was in like elementary school, wasn't digital yet. So you literally checked out library books by filling out a card. But she got me that. There was like all this little fun confetti and tissue paper, and she gave me 2 of her arcs to read, which one was Mother-Daughter Night, and I thought that book was so much fun. If you guys haven't seen that vlog yet, I'm going to, well, it's really not a vlog, it's more of just an arc review. I will post it in the description and up here on the screen. You guys go check that out. Mother-Daughter Murder Night is just a very cute, traditional kind of whodunit, and you're following a grandmother, mother, daughter family, and they're trying to solve this crime. I'm going to keep it short, but you get the gist, and their personalities class, and it's really cute, so go check it out. But she gave me that arc, and then she gave me Bright Young Things by Jessica Knoll, and I started that book, but I DNF'd it, not because the book was bad, just because I just wasn't in the mood for it. It wasn't hitting with me. I wasn't really having a really good time reading it, so I DNF'd it for now. But she gave me those 2 arcs, and just such a cute package, so thoughtful. So for her birthday, I have a package for her, and I wanted to kind of show you guys before I tape it all up and run it into the post office to mail. It's really cold and rainy here today, so that's why I had my hood up, and I'll probably put it back on before I run into the post office because it is raining. But so the first thing I wanted to get Jen is this sweatshirt, and I got myself a sweatshirt, not the same kind, but not the same one, but from the same shop. They sell all kinds of bookish content. It's called Threads by Sabrina. But anyways, this sweatshirt, it's a crew neck sweatshirt, and it says she's got a book for every situation. I just thought that Jen would appreciate this and like this. I liked the colors. I think the colors will look good on Jen, and I just thought this would be such a good gift for just a comfy, cozy reading. We can read our books in our sweatshirts and be warm for this very cold season, because we both live in a climate where it can get very chilly. So the next gift I got Jen is a book sleeve, and this is a book sleeve that has Alice in Wonderland stuff on it, so you can kind of see here some of what it looks like. And I'm not going to take it out of the package because I don't want to open it, but you can see here too what the front looks like. It says "We're all mad here." Jen loves Alice in Wonderland, so I thought this would be so cute. And we have been doing mystery books, and we've been wrapping the books every month for our TBRs, but I thought it would be cute if we just use book sleeves to hide the books, and that way it would be easier for us, because like this month for the November TBR, which you guys have probably already seen, I had to use my book sleeve, and it looks like this. I'll show you. My book sleeve looks like this, and it's the same brand. So it's got a little pocket here. It's the same brand as the one I got Jen, and I love it. So I just thought Jen might really enjoy having this book sleeve to use to carry her books in, as well as maybe instead of wrapping all of our mystery books that we're going to reveal in vlogs, maybe putting them in the sleeve would just be easier. I got her these cute little Alice in Wonderland book clips. So they're kind of like bookmarks, but they're just magnetic clips that clip around the pages. I've been using them for some of my books, and I really like them. I like the fact that there's nothing like sticking out of the book to get like damaged or bent, and to hold the place in books. Also, you can kind of clip it around any part of the book page that you want, so you can kind of mark more of like where you stopped in case you have to stop like mid-chapter. It's just easier sometimes to find your place. And then I also got her these little book tabs, because I've been using these because when we do reading vlogs, I'll be reading a book and there'll be something that sticks out that I think, oh my gosh, I need to mention this in the wrap up, or I need to mention this in the vlog, and I will forget, or I don't have a piece of paper right there to write it down. So I've been taking these little book tabs and just tabbing the page and then going back to it to refresh my memory, because I'm like so bad at remembering certain things, and when I'm doing wrap-ups or talking about books, sometimes I cannot remember character names. I know it sounds silly, but I'm just naturally bad with names. But I can't remember character names, or I'll forget to talk about something that I have had in my head, like, oh, I need to talk about this, and then I forget. So I just kind of tab it, and you can even write on these little tabs. So I just tab it. I might write a little tiny note and then continue reading, so that way I don't have to stop reading and find a piece of paper and write down my thoughts and then come back to it. I can always just, during the wrap up or when I'm trying to get my thoughts together about the book, I can put it all in there and refer to these tabs. So I've got Jen one of these to use if she wants to while reviewing books. And guys, honestly, also, I've just been using this whole thing as a bookmark. It's a little thick, but once I use a lot of the tabs, it'll wear down. But I've just been using this whole thing as a bookmark. So I just use this as a bookmark, and then when I need to tab something, I just rip off a tab and put it on my book. Last real gift that I got her is a mug, and I just thought it was so cute. Again, I'm sticking with the Alice in Wonderland theme since Jen loves it, and I hope she doesn't already have this mug or any of the Alice in Wonderland stuff. But it says, "Today is my unbirthday." And it's a really big mug, so I like my big mugs. So you can drink a lot of coffee or tea in these. And I just thought it was really cute and reminded me of Jen, so I wanted to get this for her. And she can drink out of it on her unbirthday. So that's really all the gifts. I did get her a card. And if you guys saw the video, you'll know that Jen got me this super cute card, which I mentioned earlier, but I just got her a regular card because I'm not as cool as Jen. So I got her a regular card, so I'm gonna put a little note in it and put a card in there, and then I'm gonna wrap it in just some fun kind of confetti looking tissue paper. And I bought some sequins to sprinkle into the box, because when she did my gift, she put this really cute like star and moon and sun confetti in, and when I went to get confetti from the store, the only confetti they had were these little teeny tiny pieces, and I know that confetti would be a mess and a nightmare to clean up off of Jen's floor or her tables, and I don't want to do that to her. So I did get some big like sequins to kind of toss in the box just to make it kind of a little fun. So that's it. I'm gonna put this all together and then send it off to Jen, and in a few days she should get it, and hopefully in time for her birthday, and have a nice surprise.
I was just reading I didn't get very far, but I wanted to mention a couple things just that I noticed about what I read so far. And she goes over the history of her grandparents, her mom and dad's parents. And a couple things she mentioned just struck me, because when I was paying attention around the time she was having her breakdown, I remember a story from one of the tabloids or something that there was mental illness that ran in her family, and I think they had specifics, but I wasn't paying that much attention. I thought they were exaggerating something, or it was potentially not even true, and I don't remember how much of it I had read. But now you get the real story, and it's just really sad. It was her grandmother on her dad's side who was abused by her grandfather and put into a mental institution. I think she calls it a sane asylum. But her grandmother ends up killing herself over, I mean, I don't know what mental illness she may have had, or if she was just driven. Britney seems to allude that the grandfather drove her grandmother to madness. So it was just really sad, and it just, I felt like some of this was going to just make me really feel bad for Britney and everything that she went through. Hey guys, so I just got the package from Amanda. She sent it to me for my birthday that is in 2 days. I'm really excited to see what is in it. And I already cut the tape on it so that I wasn't struggling on camera trying to open that up. But I was trying to angle the camera because I don't have the best way to show this. My boyfriend is on the phone downstairs, and this is the only space I have to open this so I can record it, which is in my normal space that I normally film in. So, and I already noticed that she had done, I thought I got all the tape. I already noticed that she put some of the glitter in, which I'm assuming is like her glitter revenge for all the glitter that I had sent in the other package. So there's a card first, and it says happy birthday. Oh, thank you so much for a really nice little a nice saying in there. And oh my god, I see Alice in Wonderland, which if you guys have seen any of our videos, I do have several Alice in Wonderland references or bookmarks and such. Absolutely love Alice in Wonderland. It's one of those book pouches, and she has a really cute one that she has shown on the videos, but this is super cute. It has a little pouch in the front, and then it has a zipper part. So that is ultra adorable. I love Alice in Wonderland so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it looks like there's some Alice in Wonderland bookmarks. I can never have enough bookmarks. I know there are times I use just a piece of paper, but I really like getting like different and unique bookmarks too. And I always feel like I'm losing some of them. But these are so super cutie. I've seen these at Second and Charles, and I didn't buy them. And actually, there were other Alice in Wonderland clip ones that aren't the same that I also just got for a gift that I'm going to have to show. And then also some book page tabs. It looks like it can fit in a binder. And this looks really, really cute. I gotta watch the glitters. Definitely gonna need a vacuum. And this looks like something I want to put on right now and go read something. So it says she's got a book for every situation. That is so incredibly unique, and I love it. It makes me want to just go put this on, especially since it's so cold out right now. It was snowing yesterday on Halloween. Can't even. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Amanda. This is so adorable. I love everything so much. Thank you so much. So I just started to put the box down. I was like, man, this is really heavy. I thought the packing material was all that was left in there. And no, there's something else in there. Oh, it's so cute. Alice in Wonderland. I love mugs. I have several. And I mean, I don't drink coffee that often. It's like a treat for me. But I also love doing hot chocolate in the winter, of course. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that's all that's in there. I promise not to throw anything away. I'm pretty sure I got everything in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I've just been doing some reading, and I have like a pile of laundry sitting next to me. Anyone ever have that where, laundry's sitting there, but, reading is the thing that takes your attention away? I really should put it away, but I'm at the part where she has started to become very popular, and she headlined for NSYNC. Her Baby One More Time did extremely well, and she starts talking about how she did the cover of Rolling Stone. It was very controversial at the time because they did the interview like in her bedroom, and it was a young girl. I think she was 17 at the time, and she was holding a Teletubby, and she was dressed provocatively. She's supposed to be a role model for kids, and how dare she? And what's funny is I remember thinking it back then. It's just very apparent now, is why is that all on her? I don't understand, like, especially a young girl. The studios and everyone, the management and everything behind her, that's really who's pushing her into these things. And I just remembered all of the headlines at the time, and people were being hard on her, saying how come she's not. The criticism started pretty early. I didn't remember that so much at first until this, and then I remembered, I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing a lot of those magazine articles. So I'm gonna keep reading and not doing laundry. I just got to the part that has been in the media a lot with her book, about her talking about the abortion of the baby. She was pregnant with Justin Timberlake's baby, and he didn't want to be a father. He thought they were too young. She gave in to the decision.
She was talking about that experience. First of all, it was very, very painful and physically painful. She talks about taking these pills and then lying on her bathroom floor for a whole day in excruciating pain, some of the most pain she's been in her entire life. And she does have kids now, so she has experienced childbirth, and she's like saying that this is some of the most incredibly painful things she's ever been through. And she doesn't really go into it, but you have to know that now that she's older in life, thinking back on that decision, she probably feels a lot of remorse, sadness, and regret. And my heart just goes out to her for that decision, because I feel like that decision was made out of, one, pressure from the guy in the relationship, Justin Timberlake, and two, Britney's desire to make him happy and be with him and just appease him. And three, the need to further her career. She, and you'll learn in this book, was under so much pressure from everyone that she knew about what to do with her career, where to go, what films to be in, what TV shows to go on, what dances to do, what choreographers to work with, what venues to sing at. It's just, her life has just been controlled by so many other people her entire life. So, and when I read that part of the book, I literally wanted to cry. And I don't normally cry in books. I'm not someone that gets emotional and cries in books. I just don't. But my heart just hurt for her, hearing her say that, and then just knowing now, kind of imagining what she must feel.
And she talks around the same part about how she knows he was cheating on her many times. And I wish there was almost more detail. I don't know if some of it might be there was only so much she wanted to share. Maybe she felt like she was really sharing a lot, but I don't feel like we know what time that she had this abortion in regards to when they broke up. And I also feel like there's not a lot of detail around. There were a lot of rumors at the time that she had cheated with Wade Robson, which she admits to kind of, but she says they just kissed after a night of being out. He was a choreographer that did her tours and did some videos for her. And he's also happens to be someone that, as a young boy, was around Michael Jackson and then ended up accusing Michael Jackson of inappropriately touching him with another young boy. And not much is said other than she says very briefly that she admitted to Justin that she was with Wade Robson. But it sounds like it was like a long period before they broke up, and Justin kind of makes it seem like with his video Crimea River, he makes it seem like he found out about it and then broke up with her. So the timeline seems kind of skewed. But it doesn't also feel like, for what she went through with this, not even telling her family that she went through an abortion, it's just heartbreaking.
The other thing is about their breakup, which is another thing that I had on my list that I was hoping she would talk about. And I knew at the time when Justin broke up with Britney, it was little suspect. To me, it felt like he was just a immature, stupid boy that was using Britney and breaking up with her just to garner headlines to promote his career. Because right after he broke up with Britney, he launched an album, and he even made a music video with an actress that looked like her. And in the music video, she cheats on him. So I was right about that. Britney talks about that fairly lengthy. Britney talks about that at a pretty. Britney talks about that and her breakup and Justin using her in detail in this book. So if that is something you are looking for, then that's in this book too. And I was very validated. I felt validated knowing that at that point in time, I knew something was weird about the book, or at that point in time when the breakup happened, I knew something was off, and it seemed to me like Justin Timberlake was just acting like a typical selfish, immature boy, just using girls. So, and that's kind of what it turned out to be. And Britney can see that now, looking back on it. But at the time, she didn't see it that way. She was just a heartbroken teenager. She had lost her first love, a guy that she gave up so much for, and then he treats her like crap, and the media treats her like crap, and everyone kind of puts all this pressure on her, but yet she's still forced and pressured by her family to keep performing and doing shows when she just needs time to take to herself and, come to grips with what has happened in her life.
She goes to Vegas and does the infamous 55-hour marriage. And what's really interesting about this part isn't even just her decision to do that. It sounds like she was just really drunk and being stupid, basically, like stupid young, doing things because she can. Her family reacted very quickly, she says. She talks about how she was the money for her family, and you could tell they were probably scared their meal ticket was going to stop. She is very aware of how much her family's depending on her, and she makes the connection that from that point, it seems like they have a harsher grasp on her because they don't want that money train to stop, and she isn't thinking like this is coming from a place of they care about her. And she's forced to go back on tour again, and she just seems very depressed again. But I just thought it was interesting, her noticing how her family reacted to it, and how they made her get it annulled, and what their fear might be with what was going on with her. I'm laughing because she just started talking about Kevin Federline. She felt great with him. It sounded like she started to find someone once again that she felt safe with and she felt loved by. But I completely forgot about the show they did called Chaotic. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. And I watched that. I just remember thinking, like, he seems like he is just out for her money. And she does say she felt like she was, I can't remember how she described it, something about she got in over her head because she found out he had kids and with another woman, and she was just shocked, and she was already like head over heels for him. And I can't remember the word she used, but I just had to record because I totally forgot about Chaotic. It's just too funny.
The next topic on my list that I wanted her to talk about was the incident where she went in the salon and shaved her head. Now, in the media, they showed pictures of Britney with a bald head and Britney shaving her head, and she looks crazed, and they're saying that Britney's having a mental breakdown. And although I do feel like at the point of that happening, she was probably having a mini mental break. She talks about a lot of things leading up to that point. What I didn't realize was the timing of that event. So when she shaved her head and it made all those headlines, she had been married to Federline. He was leaving her and trying to take their two young children. And one thing you'll know about Britney when you read this book is that she is a dedicated mother. She did not want to give up the unborn child she had with Justin Timberlake. Now she has two boys with a husband that are very young, and her husband is leaving her. And again, she just wanted to be loved. She really gave her heart to her husband, and she tried so hard, and again sacrificed herself and a lot of the things she wanted to make this relationship work. And at the end of the day, he was just another man taking advantage of her. And even though he doesn't, from Britney's point of view, was not a very prominent father figure in the family. He tried to take the kids from her. He did take her kids from her, and she didn't see them for months. And that also just broke my heart when I thought about the mental pain and anguish that put her through. And when she talks about shaving her head, she explains that when she was in the salon doing that, it was sort of an act of rebellion. She was lashing out. She was trying to tell people, I'm done being what you want me to be. You always focus, there's all this focus on my hair. Guys love long hair. The media, that puts pressure on you to be pretty. And she had a lot of pressure on her own family to look good, act good, and to fit into this vision that they made for her that she should be, because they just want her to make money. So that was like a form of rebellion for her. And she doesn't say this, but I do feel like she probably was under a lot of mental pressure, and that was probably a little tiny mental break. I don't think when she shaved her head she was thinking about how bad the media was going to portray this and how it was going to look, and what effect it might have on her getting custody of her kids.
I am in line for Starbucks. I really want to try one of the new drinks for the winter release. It's a gingerbread oat milk latte. I'm getting it iced. But something I was thinking of after I had read a bunch last night, and I'm up to, they put the conservatorship into place, and I believe they take her to, I think the next thing she might talk about is they took her to like a mental hospital or something like that. But I realized she never talks about, there was a man that called himself her manager, and there was a lot of stories at the time because one of the reasons why it was said that her family stepped in was because this man, his name was Sam Lufty, that this man was taking advantage of her and that they needed to step in and protect her because he was predatory. She doesn't mention him at all. And I'm just really curious. I don't know if that's legal reasons, because I know there were lawsuits against him and stuff like that, but I am just curious as to why he's not mentioned at all. I don't know, maybe he'll be mentioned in the next couple of chapters that I'm going to read, but he would have already been around her a bunch at this point, so I'm not sure why she never mentions him. All right, I got the drink. It is a gingerbread oat milk chai iced latte, and it's one of their winter drinks, and it looks really pretty. I don't know if it's coming across on there, so I'm very curious to see what this tastes like. I don't know if I like it. Anywho, I wanted to say something else about what I was talking about with Sam Lufty. It seemed that this guy was just taking advantage of her. He just did not seem trustworthy, and a lot of the press was playing up to that fact, saying that she was with this guy and then the paparazzi guy she was dating, Adnan, and that she was just around a lot of bad people. And I think when her mother, Lynn Spears, wrote a book and released it, I didn't read it, but I remember reading a snippet saying how they had to step in because this guy, Sam Lufty, I think she admitted that he was taking advantage of her daughter and that he was drugging her. But Britney says nothing about it. I had always thought that the conservatorship, though, went on too long. It was really good for her to get back on track because she did seem like she was starting to spiral out of control, at least how the media was portraying it. She's still trying to maintain. She was just having fun, and though she was depressed, she didn't feel like it was at a level to be in a conservatorship. So I don't think she feels that it should have happened. But I always thought in the beginning it was for the best, and then they took advantage, was what I had originally thought. So I'm not sure. I'm still going to read and see if anything else is mentioned, but I had just been thinking, like, how come she's not mentioning this guy? And I remember him being all over the media with her. He was with her constantly around this time, and he just did not seem really shady. So we'll see what she says next.
I wanted her to talk about her conservatorship, and when I thought of the conservatorship she was in, I assumed that her parents maybe coerced her into this conservatorship as a child. But I was very, very wrong. She actually was not put into this conservatorship until she was like early 30s. And the conservatorship really wasn't her choice. She was forced into it by a judge. And her father and family portrayed her as being crazy, and she was lashing out and acting wild, and she admits that. But they were making her out to be completely mental and forcing her to go to rehab for things like taking energy supplements, things like that. And they strapped her legally into this conservatorship. So she was aware of what the conservatorship meant, and she was an adult, and she did not want to do it, but they forced her into it. And this is a really hard part of the book to read too, because Britney was essentially a slave. Her father controlled her money. Her father controlled where she lived. Her father controlled what she ate. Her father controlled what makeup she could use, how she could do her hair, what color her hair was. Her father controlled when and if she could see her children, along with Kevin Federline, who had custody of the kids. At least I think she had partial custody where she could see them every now and then. But if her father didn't want her to see her kids, then he would say, no, you can't see your kids. And she talks about being given an allowance of $2,000 a week, and which to a normal person would seem like a lot, but when you are forced to work and Britney is making hundreds of millions of dollars, to get $2,000 a week, that's like $4,000 a year. That's not anything compared to the work she was putting in, what she was doing. And she discusses a point of time where she wanted to take this crew she was working with her Vegas show, the dancers and crew. She wanted to take them out to dinner, and the bill at the place where they ate dinner was $1,000, and she went to pay for it, and her credit card was declined because she didn't have enough money in her allowance account. Meanwhile, her dad is making millions and millions of dollars. And her mom too. Her mom and dad are working together.
So I just got my nails done, which feels so much better. They were getting so... It was time. Anyway, there was a couple more thoughts about the Sam Lufty. I paid a lot of attention at that time, and I remember even thinking when she was around this guy, why isn't anyone helping her? And when her family supposedly stepped in and did this conservatorship, I didn't know what it was at the time, but I thought, oh, this is what she needs. She needs someone to help get her life on track. She doesn't seem to be doing well. She needs help. It seemed like a good thing. And Lynn, her mom, did write a book. I didn't read it, but I remember there being snippets, and she talked about this guy, Sam Lufty. And there was no reason for us to not think her mom had her best interest at heart. Now it feels that Britney did not feel at any point was this situation good for her, that her family did not have her best interest at heart, that they basically were trying to control what money they could get and didn't. But she doesn't mention the whole Sam Lufty situation. So I'm not sure what that means. I don't know, again, if that was legal reasons why she's not talking about him, if she just doesn't want to address it and make it feel like, okay, that was a good situation for someone to step in. I don't know. I mean, all of it would be speculation because she doesn't address it. I'm still really wondering, those who paid attention around then and know who I'm talking about with this guy, I just wonder what the real situation was. Wow, so I'm waiting for my doctor's appointment. I got here early after getting my nails done. I have to do a cancer surveillance blood test today But I was sitting in my car reading until I have to go up there because I really don't want to sit in a hospital waiting room right now. And literally the next chapter is her pretty much going off about how her mom wrote that book that I mentioned. I didn't realize she was going to talk about it. Or just how angry she was that her mom wrote that book. And she even mentions how on Instagram she often is talking shit about her parents. But if anyone knew how she felt about everything that she's seeing with her parents, they would understand. But I think I do understand. I think I understand a lot of what she's going through, but still no mention of Sam Lefty, which is really interesting. I'm going to keep reading I have like 45 minutes before I have to be up there. So I'm going to keep reading until I have to go to my appointment. So I just read a part where she talks about what she says makes me think this might be some of the reason why she didn't mention that guy Sam Lefty, and she really focuses all her mental energy, or I should say anger, towards her parents because they really were who did this to her. But she says it's difficult for me to revisit this darkest chapter of my life and to think about what might have been different if I pushed back harder. I don't at all like to think about that, not whatsoever. I can't afford to. Honestly, I've been through too much. And it just seems really hard for her to think about, and I'm sure it really hurt her to have to think about all these memories and to write about them. And there might have been things that were too painful for her to even put into this book, I'm thinking. I feel bad for what she went through, and I feel bad that it went on for so long, for 13 years, and all she went along with it just so she could see her kids. And I remember thinking back when I heard she got to see her kids, because I knew at the time that she had either said or it was reported that she was going through that dark time and she shaved her head and everything because she was so upset about not seeing her kids. It's really sad. But I'm going to keep reading. So she does mention Jason. I had originally forgot about him. She mentions him briefly in one chapter, and then she does go over how they dated, and they were engaged. I think she talks about being engaged to him, but then he became part of her conservatorship, which I also had remembered. And it sounds like, and she admits that once he became part of what she was resentful of in her life, she fell out of love with him and they ended things. And they dated for 3 years. And I remember thinking at the time that it was weird that he was involved in her conservatorship. How does that work? And then they broke up. So she does mention him and goes on a little bit about him. I would have thought it odd if she hadn't talked about him.
Okay, I finished Britney's book last night. After hearing her final words and the fact that she finally feels free, I'm very happy for her that she's free, but I also feel very kind of sad for her. Like, I just want to give her a hug, because when you have people you count on in your life, whether it be your parents, your siblings, your significant other, friends, you count on them to support you, to be there for you, to make you smile, to hug you when you cry, to give you words of encouragement. And Britney has never really had that type of unconditional love given to her by anybody. She's just kind of been used her entire life, even by the men that she's chosen to be with. And at the end of the book, she did say that she was happily married now, and her husband are trying to have a kid of their own. But I wasn't sure who her husband was. I didn't recognize his name, so I Googled Britney's husband to try to find out who he was, and this headline came up that said he's divorcing her. So it just, now she's all alone again. And I just hope that she does truly find a person that loves her unconditionally and can give the love that she has given in return. and just to be that person for her. I do believe she has a great relationship with her kids and they probably love her unconditionally, but I feel like you also need another non-kid, like an adult like your own age, or a father, mother, parent figure in your life to support you. So I just hope that Brittany finds someone to have in her life in some capacity that truly, truly cares about her. Nothing to do with fame or money or her talent or what they can get from her, but just truly, truly loves her unconditionally. I feel like she just has been missing that her entire life, and she needs to find that.
So I finished the Britney Spears memoir, The Woman in Me, and I feel, a lot of thoughts. And you just saw all the thoughts I was having while reading it. Talked a fair amount about being surprised that the one guy who almost seemed like he was an impetus for the conservatorship, which has been the main reason I believe she wrote this book and feels like she needs to speak up, because she pretty much felt like she was in a prison for 13 years. And Sam Lufty was a man that she was around the time she was put into that conservatorship. And there was a lawsuit between Britney's parents and Sam. There were a lot of allegations between all of them. And I'm not sure where Britney's voice is in any of that. And since she doesn't address Sam, she does address her parents, obviously. It's hard to tell what the reason is for him not being in here. And I know at the end of the day it doesn't really matter. I think it matters more that she is free and that she's able to have a voice. There is a possibility. I had heard there were several pages that were cut out of her memoir because of lawyers. They didn't say who or what. And since Sam was in court with her parents and about Lynn's book, it makes sense that it could very well have been him making sure that she's not throwing allegations around, or that he isn't put in the same position again. And for whatever reason, Brittany agreed. There is still a restraining order against him. Again, I don't know, since it was from 2019, it very well could be from her dad and she had nothing to do with it. It's really hard to say. I just really thought something would be said about him, and it makes me feel like there might be a legal reason why. A couple other things that weren't in this memoir that I was just a little surprised about. Larry Rudolph was her original manager, and she does mention him. It's not like he's not completely in this, but she mentions it very offhandedly, doesn't say any feelings around him in terms of if she liked him, if he helped her. And she ends up being with him again, though. And I think it was when she was in the conservatorship, and I think her dad maybe put him back in with her, but she never says anything negative about him either. He's not mentioned all that much. So I found that a little weird as well. And then I was really surprised. Well, not surprised. I think I hoped for some information. There was a rumored album that was around 2004, 2005. And at the time, and I even re-looked it up because I couldn't remember all the details, she had made a guest appearance on a radio show in LA, debuting a song from an album called Original Doll That Never Happened. Now, the song she debuted on the radio did end up being, I think, on like a greatest hits or something like that. And that one was Mona Lisa. Now, a couple things about this. I always wondered about that lost album, and there at the time I remember there being a lot of leaked tracks that were music. It was music that she was working on, or it was rumored it was going to be on an album, and nothing ever happened. Some of it, I think, ended up going on to Blackout, that her album that she is really proud of and loves and talks about in the book proudly. I also really love that album from her. And the thing about that song Mona Lisa, and I don't know if anybody watching this knows all the conspiracy theories there are about Britney. I mean, it really gets crazy, the conspiracy theories with Britney. If you go onto TikTok and you look at anything regarding her, I mean, there are people that believe that the real Britney Spears like died years ago, and that she, the person that's here now, is a clone, especially since she's been inside for many years now. But I think some of it comes down to that song Mona Lisa, because in that song she talks about a clone, and that it says she's telling people that Britney Spears has been cloned basically in this song. I don't believe that. I think the song at the time, she was really rebelling against a lot of things in her life. I think she was depressed after Justin Timberlake, and that's true what you see in the book. And she didn't know what she was doing with her life. She ended up getting involved with Kevin Federline. I think she felt better then, but I still think she was really rebelling against everything that was part of the Britney that was the image with Justin Timberlake. And she wanted to make music the way she wanted to make music. And I think that's one of the reasons why she debuted that song on a radio station. I bet her label had nothing to do with that. Probably pissed at her for doing that. And she just wanted to do music the way she wanted to do it. Because she talks about that album. It's not just, oh, a rumored album. On a radio, and there's still a clip if you go online, she talks about how she's working on an album called Original Doll. Here's the single from it. And then that album never happened. Now, she did get pregnant around that time too, so it's very possible that's what took over. She also had Chaotic come out at that time, the TV show she did with Kevin Federline. So I'm not entirely sure. She doesn't mention it at all in this book. Again, disappointed to see that she doesn't say anything about that. She doesn't mention either, and I know I mentioned this in one of the videos when I was reading, there was a documentary in 2008. At the time, I felt that was her getting a voice, because in that documentary, she talks about how sad she is and how controlled her life is, and pretty much complaining about the conservatorship, and it was about a year in place, maybe not even. I don't know why she doesn't talk about that documentary. I thought she would say something, but it almost seems like a commercial for her conservatorships, showing like, look, we have her under control. She's living life much better now. She's not running around with paparazzi or with some strange guy that's supposedly drugging her. She's not, roaming around gas stations at night and seemingly on drugs. She is doing well, and it's because we put this thing in place. So I'm not sure the background for that either, because she doesn't address that. She also doesn't address that after her conservatorship, the relationship with her sons, which was one of the main reasons she stayed in it and didn't fight it so much, was she at least got to see her sons. But after the conservatorship ended, she got into some arguments with her kids. They really, I guess, kind of shut ties with her and decided to just be with Kevin, their dad. And I know they eventually moved to Hawaii with their dad. They weren't at her wedding. She doesn't say anything about any of that. And it makes me feel bad because she dedicates this to her sons. You can tell everything in her life. She really loves being a mom and was giving everything to be with her sons, and she was kept from them for so long, and then for them to shut her out at the end when she wasn't even under that conservatorship anymore. I mean, it breaks my heart for her. And then she got pregnant and had a miscarriage with Sam, and then she's very complimentary of Sam in this book. And then after this book, he ended up filing for divorce. I don't think it's finalized. There were rumors they were going to reconcile. I'm not sure if that's true. There are also a lot of rumors that he was a plant or he was manipulating her. And there are a lot of people that are like anti-Sam online. But in the book, she's very complimentary of him. And she was with him since 2016. I think some people think they got married and it was just a few years, but they had been together for 7-ish years before they split. So I don't know what's going on with them, but she has been hinting at writing book number 2 to go into things that happened, I guess, after this book had been finalized for publication, and that book also about what she focuses on to remain a survivor and strong with everything that she's been through. And maybe she'll even go over what happened with her sons too, because I don't think, as of right now, I don't think they talk anymore, which is just really, really sad. Overall, I feel like this book is very to the point. She doesn't go off on a tangent on anything. I feel like she is just talking to things that she really wanted to give a voice to. And the other thing is that she, after this book came out, she wrote on Instagram, she said she was very upset with the headlines that were coming out about her book. She isn't specific as to what she means. People were speculating that she was not happy that everyone was attacking Justin Timberlake, because she does say in the post that this was 20 years ago. She's past it. She didn't want anything to be focused on the past, that she's moving forward, that she didn't know this book had to be written. And when it is, she just felt like people weren't focused on the right thing. And I think to her, the right thing is that she survived all of this and now she's seemingly free. There are people that still think that she's somehow under some kind of restraint, and I don't know. I feel like she might be hiding or staying in her house because so much has been scrutinized about her life, and she's been under a camera for so long that she doesn't want to put herself out there, and I don't blame her. I mean, why would you want to keep subjecting yourself to that? She does it at her own terms, which is Instagram. She puts herself on there with what she wants to, and she controls it. And to me, I mean, more power to her. Overall, I really enjoyed reading this, even if there were things I still had questions about. I feel this was just a great read to see that Britney got through everything and that she's a survivor. And I very much admire everything that she's been through. And I enjoyed reading this and finding out more about her and things that, as a fan, I didn't know before. And now I see her side of it. And that's it. So those are my thoughts on Britney. If you're a fan, or if you had any thoughts or things that even I didn't talk about or missed, feel free to comment, and you can also email. We have that on our info page. Next video that we're going to be doing most likely is going to be Iron Flame, which I'm super excited about. So until next time.